Hey everyone, it's Andrew Ross from Indie Garage here with Dean Law, our contributors for Laws Automotive and Portage La Prairie. Uh, Dean and I have been talking a little bit about fuel trim issues and understanding what's going on. Uh, Dean, what are we going to look at today?
Today we're going to be looking at a master flow system. There's another system we'll get into at a different time, but today will be system.
All right, so now you've got something set up there already, right?
We're going to flip over to it. All right, and this is the information here of live data, what's going on inside the vehicle right now. And the master flow system uses grams per second for air coming in to know exactly, well, temperature, master flow as the grams per second, temperature of the engine, air temperature coming in, manifold, absolute pressure sensor, and the O2 sensors and the cooling temperature sensor all works together to tell the computer when to turn the injectors on or off. And the O2 sensor's job is to tell the computer if it's too rich or too lean. So when we're looking at a long-term trim like this here, which is -24, it's minusing fuel. People get confused. I even got confused when I was younger. It's easy to get confused when you see minusing. So if you think it's minusing fuel or it's subtracting fuel, what it's doing is too rich, so it is subtracting fuel. The O2 sensor, which is down over here, there's actually nothing really going on because right now it's not monitoring this anymore. So it's gone into something called open loop. When you hit all the way up to the -24, it's subtracted as much fuel as it can. So you're almost having, like right now we have 20, minusing 20 off for the fuel trim. So what it does is the computer will go into default mode and it will go back into open loop. And when you go into open loop, what that does is it stops monitoring the O2 sensors. The bank 1, sensor 2, and bank 1, sensor 1, which is back over here on this side. So this guy right here is bank 1, sensor 1. There's no activity going on because the computer's not monitoring it. As you can see, the numbers here are way too high. So the computer recognizes that there's an issue in the computer, or there's an issue with the running. To save itself, it goes into something called a limp home mode, and the limp home mode is running in open loop. Open loop is when you first start your vehicle up, it'll have a fixed rate for the injectors to run at, and it will not change. And it will have it'll control the idler control valve or today the throttle body. So that will get you home without damaging anything, because if it's too rich or if it's too lean, two different things could happen. And if it's too rich, it can really do engine damage. If it's too lean, it could do engine damage. So that's why the engineers programmed a specific value for things to run in to get you home. That's why it's called a limp home. And it'll throw a check engine light saying right now that it's B0171. There's a few different other codes I can get into, but we're not going to get into that today. Just a simple fact of understanding the long-term here, its job is to take up the slack, basically. This is the guy that takes the slack up. So the short-term could do its job of trying to bring this back down to zero. What it's trying to do is it's trying to bring it back to something called, we call them the trade stoichiometric measurements. And that's 14-to-1 compression ratios, or 14-to-1 fuel ratios. And what it's doing is it's going to keep adding, subtracting, and adding, subtracting fuel to keep that short term at zero. See how it's at zero? It'll continue to bounce. Then if it's going up or down, it's going to minus it out. It's going to go to 20, and then it'll go to 24, trying to keep this guy at zero. So if we're looking at it, this will be the short-term fuel trim. And right now, this is getting the information that it's not monitoring. But to understand what's going on here is it's trying to bring this back to zero. This is stoichiometric right across here. Oh, that's fuzzy, sorry. This is stoichiometric is zero here. So what it's trying to do is it's trying to keep it at zero. You can see it. It's trying to fight to bring it back to zero. And when it goes down too low, like this guy right here, that's -10, that's a job of, oops, sorry about that. Let's get back into that. I'm looking through the screen, so it doesn't really help me. This one right here is trying to get, it's going to take that number and it's going to keep adding it up or subtracting it out to that 0. That's basically the long end, the short end of the stick of that. So you can see these two working together. It's really, it's more it's less complicated than it sounds. Just a lot of information trying to process that. You're trying to keep it at 0 and see how it's keeping up here. So here you can notice down here, see it went to -14 because it went to 10. But before that, it was lower, so it's bringing this back down. So when it subtracts the fuel so much, that's when it's actually bringing it back to 0 here. And that's where the spike happens, and you can actually see, you can monitor those two together. And that's pretty much it for fuel trim. We're trying to understand it. So it's subtracting fuel right now because it's too rich. The rich conditions can happen from stuck open injectors or wrong inputs, or there's so many different things that it could be. Just today, I'm trying to stay on topic of the short term and the long term, what those do and how they correlate with each other. Like you said, this guy here is tightening up the belt strap to get the pad tighter while he's trying to calculate that last little bit of trying to find out where the happy medium is. And that's what short term and long term fuel trim is actually doing.
Sure.
Trying to keep it as complicated.
Yeah. Now, you know, you know, last week we were looking at a case that you had in your shop, and it turns out there was, you know, an uncontrolled air coming in through a damaged PCV hose, if I remember correctly, and the kind of situation that can, you know, cause the system to sort of bottom out and trying to pull back on you know, the fuel trim?
Sure. This one here is pulling back in a different way. It's subtracting fuel. When you're having an air leak in the system, that's going to be a rich condition. It's going to be adding fuel instead of subtracting fuel. Because right now you can see it's subtracting. It's in the minus. Yes, last week it would be in the positive. This one here is more of a different system, a different problem. But when it has a PCV hose, it would be, yeah, exactly. It would be in the opposite direction. Right. It would be adding, and this would be buried right at 24. It wouldn't move from there. But yeah, you're right. It's still the same thing. That's that variance of back and forth.
Right. So if we can have a look at you, Dean, again, from your standpoint as a, you know, a professional tech and shop owner, talking to other professional techs and shop owners, what sorts of things would they should they focus on when they're looking at you know, some readouts like that, where, as you say, like the things are really bottoming out?
Well, what I would be looking at to start with is, number one, you have to really start to use. You got to get your guys to be understanding oscilloscopes. Don't be scared of them. You need to use these because this is processed information that we're reading here. This is processed information from the computer. There could be problems with the sensors. There could be problems with grounds that's causing dropouts. I quickly made up a little bit of a quick description of things that I've been talking about.
Okay, great.
This would be a normal master flow sensor reading. So if you're increasing RPM, this would be in a 10-second division per division. So it would be 1 millisecond, 2 milliseconds, 3, and then you'd have the frequency. And when you step on the accelerator, it would go up and it would drop down. You don't want to see any hashes. This would be a good, so if you did a wide open throttle on this vehicle we're working on, you'd see an increase. This would be the initial drop of vacuum, and then it would increase the frequency, and that would be adding more fuel. And then when you let go of the accelerator, it would drop out. This here is what you don't need to see. This right here is called hash. This stuff here will do all sorts of different things to your trim system, and it will cause you to have false leans or false rich conditions when you read this. So if you're using oscilloscopes and you're going into this right here, so get into reading. I'm gonna see if I can focus on that. No, I can't. Okay. On that there, you have a power, you have a ground, you have a signal wire. Check your ground, no more than 100 millivolts. Use an oscilloscope. If you use a multimeter, like my multimeter is, it's more of an advanced one. I'm keeping this one. The only reason why I'm keeping this one here is to work on hybrid vehicles, because it can handle up to 1,000 volts. But on the new systems themselves today, if you're using a multimeter, they won't be fast enough to catch the glitches and dropouts, especially on the ground. On a normal multimeter, it takes an average of time. Graphing multimeters take a million samples per division. So per area here, there's a million sample rates happening here. This guy here will be having like a clean straight line going across, and it won't catch it. That's what catches a lot of people off guard. Using oscilloscope, like I said, today, shop owners really need to be sending their people, their techs, even apprentices and that, into training on these oscilloscopes. Really get to know what the oscilloscopes are. Don't be scared of them. Don't be intimidated by them. Get your guys, if they're really hungry, give them a computer. Let them go home. Let them play around with their car at home. Let them see what normal vehicles are running at.
Right.
And then start understanding what this hash means. Like, okay, well, what does this do? So while you're doing this and you're checking, you can actually minimize the oscilloscope screen, and you can go into live data, and you can see when this starts to happen, what's happening to your field trim. And then you start making connections on what's happening, right? Because you have a map sensor and you got a master flow sensor, and they're constantly fighting each other. But if the vacuum drops in the manifold, meaning there's no vacuum left, in absence of vacuum, the engine's going to increase field trim, going to add more fuel. But the O2 sensor, or the master flow sensor, saying, well, don't. And then the O2 sensors are saying, whoa, hold up. And so start subtracting the fuel because it's too rich. So that's where things get really confused. If you're using an oscilloscope, that is key today.
Right. Good stuff. All right. Well, thank you, Dean, for your time today. Obviously it's a very broad topic. We can kind of go on and on about it, but the key here is, I think really understanding the systems and having the tools that are going to give some real visibility about what's actually happening, and understanding read those tools and know what they're telling you, and and it'll make for a more efficient, effective repair at the end of the day, right, Dean?
Gotcha.
Excellent. Good.
More money in the pocket and happier customers. No comeback.
That's the key, right? Happier techs, happier customers. They get to solve the problems, and the customer gets their vehicle working properly. It's good stuff. All right. Thanks again, everybody. We'll see you soon. Stay safe. Stay strong. Thank you, Dean. Take care.